So you want to become a Formula 1 engineer? Well, in this video, we're breaking down the top 3 essential skills you need to make it happen. But here's the challenge. Breaking into Formula 1 is insanely tough, and without mastering these skills, your risk of falling behind and staying behind is extremely high in one of the most entertainment and competitive industry on the planet. But don't worry, we've got you covered, because in this ultimate guide, we will walk you through each skills step by step, and firstly, we will talk about how to build those skills. Then, we will show you real examples of how they're used in Formula 1, so by the end you have a clear plan of how to start leveling up today. If you don't know me yet, my name is Tommy. I'm an electrical engineer in one of the Formula 1 consulting company, and I'm also doing mechanical and electrical at the University of Bath. And this channel is all about helping you to get into Formula 1 engineering with evidence-based strategies and tools. Let's get in with the video. Skill 1. Problem solving and critical thinking. Honestly, this is like the core of the Formula 1 engineering. I mean, if you think about it, engineers have to deal with problems during races they have to solve right now with no rooms of error. So here's the deal. When something goes wrong or a car is losing performance during a race, you can't just panic. You have to break it down section by section. You start by asking, what is actually causing this? Is it the tire? Is it the suspension? Or is it the power unit? But once you have pinpointed the issues, then it's all about analyzing the data and figuring out a solution fast, like adjusting the pit stop strategies or tweaking settings in the car. So basically, it's all about having a framework you can follow when you see a problem. And the cool thing is you can start practicing it now. For example, playing games like Portal 2 or Civilization 6 or 7 when it comes out, or trying to do reverse engineering on something you can access every day and try to figure out how they work. Because it's the same principle, but it just applied differently in a different topic. But here's where it gets fun. Creativity. People might think engineering is just about formulas or doing some calculations, but in Formula 1, creativity is where you get ahead. Take something like the adaptive suspension system like the Williams FW14B in 1992. Someone had to think, hey, what if we just make the car adjust dynamically to maximize the speed during the race? And that is the next level of problem solving, is by looking at a challenge or a problem and solve it in an angle that no one else can. So, how do you actually get better at this? Well, start small. I used to mess around with like coding tiny little programs to try automate something I use every day, and the process of that actually allows you to think logically and creatively. But if that feels too big, playing games like Sudoku or the games I mentioned earlier, Portal 2 and Civilization game series, allow you to sharpen your thinking and trying to solve a problem when it comes. But that brings on to our second skill, technical knowledge and practical application. Alright, this is like the bread and butter of engineer, and this is where you separate the dreamers to the doers in Formula 1. So what do you need to focus on? Well, if I can just select 3 big areas in Formula 1, it will be aerodynamic, control system and data analysis. Well, aerodynamic is become ever more important in the modern Formula 1 or just motorsport in general, and that is how you make the car more stable and faster around the corners. Control system in the other end is all about managing the ERS system, for example, or the output of the engine. And lastly, data analysis is basically everything in Formula 1, because if you can't analyze the data you collect after a race, you are basically useless to improve. Like, you can't improve without any results of testing or data. So now, tools are a big part of this. Most Formula 1 teams are using CATIA for CAD or MATLAB for simulations in control system, and you need to get familiar with those tools. But don't let that scare you, because for a lot of those tools, there's most likely a student version for that, which is free most of the time. So just get started playing around with those tools. I don't know, building a simple suspension from a tutorial online, or building a data graph in MATLAB for simulations. Any of those small projects is a great way to learn. But here's the big one. Hands-on experience. Please do not wait until you're hired by a Formula 1 team until you start building these skills. But to be honest, if you don't have those kind of skills, would you even get hired by a Formula 1 team? So if you're a university student and you have a Formula student team in your university, just join them and start doing work, because that is the closest thing you will be as a Formula engineer as a student. But if that is not an option, just start working on personal projects like the stuff I mentioned earlier. If you're unsure of what to start, designing a go-kart virtually, unless you have the garage or the resources to actually design a go-kart, or building small simulation stuff. But it doesn't matter what it is. The point is you can transform your design or your knowledge into something that's actually real. So now, once you have decided what to design or you want to design, then it brings us to the skill 3, teamwork and communication. A lot of people don't realize this, but becoming a Formula engineer, you have to be super collaborative, because you have to work with across multiple different departments and put all of your work into one thing, which is the car. If you imagine this, it's qualifying day, and I don't know, Lewis Hamilton come back and say, the car is so bad that it can't turn during the corner. So the aerodynamic people is thinking about, maybe we should decrease the load on the front wing or the rear wing, but the mechanic think, no, it's the suspension settings, and you in the middle got the data saying, I think it's something else completely. So what you have to do now? You have to figure out a solution across multiple different teams, and that's why teamwork is the backbone of Formula 1 engineering, or just Formula 1 in general. But it's not just about working with each other's, it's also about trying to explain your ideas simply to other people. Let's take drivers for example. They're not engineers, they're drivers. So when you have a brilliant solution of a problem, you have to come up to him and say like, hey, doing this change allow you to go even faster around the corners. So if you're able to transform your idea and solution into plain, simple English, that's a whole different level of communication skills. So how do you get better at this? Start by explaining the stuff you learn from your work, from projects, from school or university to a family or friend member, and if they get it, great, you got the skill. But also try jump onto the opportunities that allow you to work in a team. It could be anything from a part-time job or former student like I mentioned earlier, or a teamwork game that doesn't ruin friendship. Of course, I don't know, something like Chain Together, because those are the best way to practice teamwork under pressure. So here's my question for you. What's your dream job in Formula 1? And what are the steps you're taking right now that will allow you to get yourself closer to that job? And let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you enjoyed this video, check out this video next, or this video is all about how to get into Formula 1 engineering with evidence-based strategies and tools. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye.